My God, does nothing go smoothly around here?
Harrison and Rob, Kevin and Joe, talking about the wrestlers that you know. FTW Podcast, FTW Podcast, FTW Podcast.
Welcome, everyone, to another edition of the FTW Podcast. My name is Joe. This is Wrestling with Beer, Episode 4, recorded live February 16, 2013 on FTWLive.com. Today we're going to discuss our adventures in brewing beer, this Sunday's WWE Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, plus we'll be reviewing flavored stouts. My name is Joe, and with me today is Garvin. Say hello, Garvin.
Hello, everyone.
And if you're listening through iTunes, YouTube, Stitcher, FTWpodcast.com, FTWLive.com, or through your favorite podcast player, make sure to check out the rest of FTWpodcast.com for more about us and how to get involved with this and upcoming discussions and shows. You can also find us on Twitter, Google+, and Facebook. All those links and more are listed on FTWpodcast.com. For all of you live chat hooligans who are listening live here, watching us live here, FTWLive.com. Let's hear your comments, guys, because it's going to be an interesting one. This episode has been brought to you by the official I'm an FTW Podcast Guy t-shirt. They've been called Renegades, Rebels, Mad Scientists, who changed the way the world sees pro wrestling today. Regardless of what you call them, show the world what they should call you, and that's an FTW Podcast Guy. You can get it now in all sizes, including triple XL and quadruple XL, and yes, ladies, there is an FTW Podcast Girl Tee too. Get it for only $15 over at FTWpodcast.com/shirts, and it looks damn good on the ladies. Ask my wife. Speaking of sponsorships, go to FTWpodcast.com/sponsor now and sponsor a future episode of the podcast. No, seriously, do it. You won't regret it at all. Get your product, service, blog, event, name, and whatever you want, even your butt, out there in front of millions and millions of FTW podcast guys and fans, because we have more than just guys. That's how it's done, Harrison. Now, Garvin, what are you drinking today?
All right, well, what I've got going is the Dogfish Head Chicory Stout. And it's basically a coffee-based stout. Let me pull it up real quick.
Okay.
I actually,
as Garvin's busting shit up,
I forgot to do this before. So
yeah, I was going to do it live on air.
Well, I did. So, anyways, all right. So it's a rich dark brew, smoothed out with a touch of roasted chicory and organic Mexican coffee. So yeah, it's basically a coffee stout. I don't know if you can see it in the webcam here on our YouTube channel if you're watching Hangout Live. And Joe, what do you got?
You might want to rise up. I am drinking the Southern Tier Brewing Company's Imperial Coffee Stout Jahva. Stout blend with coffee. Over 3,000 feet above sea level in the Misty Mountains of Jamaica. Some of the world's finest beans are handpicked on their way for becoming Blue Mountain Coffee. Halfway around the world, Palm Spring barley grows to maturity in the low, blah, 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 Southern Tier Brewing Company.com. Let's open this up. I started with a frosty mug, but apparently it's a little warm in my house.
Mine is still frosty.
Yeah, but I'm not still engaged in furnace wars. So, here we go. Wow, that took a little more than I expected. Maybe I will have that third beer today, Garvin. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, that's solid. That is smooth. Didn't pour a lot of head out. But my local brew store, Wine Barrel Plus, they do all home brewing supplies. They do craft brews. They do all that. At least with another beer I'm trying later, which is sitting over here, which is the Southern Tier Brewing's Imperial Chocolate Stout. They've had this sitting on the sitting in the back for 2 years, or actually since 2010. I don't know what time in 2010, but that's what they've had available. So I'm even getting it more aged than what the brewery has send it out for.
Yeah, we'll actually
So,
both be
looking
reviewing
forward-
that one.
Yes.
Mine
It
is not
is,
aged as nicely, though.
Yeah, as far as we know.
So, yeah, I do want to make the comment that when I poured mine, which, again, is the Dogfish Head Chicory Stout, there wasn't any head to it, really. Maybe like a millimeter. But it is very smooth right now. You can definitely taste the coffee. It's got a nice taste to it so far. But we'll do the full review a little bit.
Yeah,
later.
yeah, we will. And smooth. The one thing I do like about head, the one thing I do like about when you drink a beer and it's got head, is that it brings out the aromas and the flavors that are in the beer. For those of you not in the know, and really, I understand when you're pouring beer for like a keg party, you don't want head. But when you're drinking a good beer, something like this. Okay, when you're drinking something like this, you want a little bit of head. You want a little bit of aroma, just to enjoy it just that touch more. So, anyway, I guess we should move on, talk a little bit about Smackdown. I'll admit, I watched this a little while ago. I was busy all last night, but that's what a DVR is for. I mean, am I right? I'm right. So, Garvin, what stood out to you in Smackdown?
Actually, I just want to say you are right because I watched this morning on YouTube. That's how good I am. But yeah, what stood out to me, I really like what they're doing with Jack Swagger still. That's, something I said on Tuesday. I really enjoy his ring work. I think the grouping with Zeb Coulter is a nice change. It's something we really haven't seen with Jack, and it gives him a solid person on the mic to back him up. Because let's be honest, Jack Swagger, once that lisp hits, it is difficult to take him seriously. So, outside of that, I did not catch the main event, but I've heard nothing but great things so far, both on the comments we received on Facebook, as well as the comments we got on the Google Plus community. It seems like everyone was really excited about that match, and also Mark Henry over Orton in the opening contest. I thought it was a good match for both of those guys.
Yeah, Mark Henry versus Orton was a great match. It still tried to keep Orton strong, while making not Matt Hardy, Mark Henry, very strong throughout the show. Right after the match, Henry and Stryker got into a discussion, and Mark Henry's just knocking it out of the park. As for the main event, Jericho versus Big Show, great match for the two of them. It was just fun to watch and see Jericho working as the smaller guy. Usually, he's usually an even keel or slightly smaller, so there really isn't that much of a difference. But Jericho was, it was a big difference. It's like Jericho working with Rey Mysterio, but Jericho in this instance is taking on the Mysterio role. He's the small guy, and it was good to see the two of them work very well.
Yeah.
They had a lot of back and forth. At one point, Big Show took Jericho up for a choke slam, got him up there. Jericho turned it into a DDT. Very well done. I was impressed with that match. One thing I wasn't impressed with, Tensai and Brodus versus 3MB.
Yeah, I can see that. It wasn't a quality. It wasn't a quality match. I don't know. I have mixed feelings about this because I'm glad that they're once again doing something somewhat productive with Brodus Clay and Tensai. At the same time, I don't want to see Tensai dance, just because it doesn't seem like they're explaining it. They're trying to keep the character of Tensai, that hard-nosed Japanese styled wrestler, during the match, but then after the match, he lets loose, and it feels awkward at best.
Yeah. But, after the match, Shield came down to attacks Tensai and Brodus. A triple powerbomb on Brodus, and it's a taunt at, Shaysim back, or whatever you want to call
the glass ceiling, I think, is what was coined on Tuesday.
Right, the glass ceiling, which is much better than the shit that just poured out of my mouth. Yeah. So yeah, that was in a nutshell SmackDown. I mean, you got things like Tamina versus Layla. Sort of good to see Layla back in the ring.
Yeah, and for a Divas match, I mean, it was pretty solid. I don't remember anything jumping out as a bad spot. I think both worked very well together. Actually, Layla got a lot of good offense on Tamina. It was more, what they're trying to do, it seems, is they're trying to make Tamina out to be like this giant type character. She has that giant powerhouse type ring move set up until her finisher. So it was more like, they were trying to chop down the giant tree like they usually do with Big Show type matches. So, but yeah, I thought it was a good match, and I really wish that they would have done more to build up Caitlyn versus Tamina. They mentioned that their match was coming up, but there was no interaction between the two. The only interaction we've had with Tamina and Caitlyn is, that backstage stuff during Raw Active, which, a minor portion of the audience saw.
Right. And if they're not going to build it up, why do we care? That's really the question.
Yeah.
So, unless you've got anything else to talk about for SmackDown, I think we should drink some more beer.
Yeah, I'm good with that. I'm just looking down the list. The only other thing that I like that they're doing, but it's not really anything we can really discuss today because we don't know what's going on with it, is the Fandango videos. I'm really excited to see this character debut.
I am too, because I want to see what the hell they're going to do with this gimmick, aside from oppose Brodus Clay.
Well, yeah, it's a weird scenario as we can see it now, because you do have the Brodus Clay thing. So is he going to feud with Brodus Clay and Tensai? But if it's just going to be another joke character, which it has the possibility of doing, then is there room for that? Especially with Santino, with you can kind of throw Zack Ryder in that boat as well. Like 3MB, how many more of these types of characters do we need? So hopefully they're going to do something different with it.
Could we? We don't even know if this guy's a heel or a face. I'm getting the impression that he's going to be a heel. With that possibility, could we see him team up with Team Rhodes Scholars?
Well,
I don't know. I'm putting that on my ass.
No, because Rhodes Scholars broke up despite them reuniting for one match. A week later.
Yeah, that was one thing that I just didn't get. Was like, why? Why are you going to do that to Team Rhodes Scholars? Like, oh, we broke up, but we're good friends. Fuck, we need somebody for the pre-show match. Here you go. I don't know. That's all I got.
All right, well, let's talk about these beers. I'll start. Once again, I am drinking the Dogfish Head Chicory Stout. It's basically a stout with Mexican coffee beans and chicory. And overall, I should be honest. I'm not a stout guy. I rarely like stouts. For me, they're just way too heavy. There's way too many flavors going on that it's just hard for me to take down, especially when I'm drinking beer. I normally like my beers light and easy to drink because I'm normally only drinking beers to get drunk. But a stout like this has a great taste. It's very smooth. It's easy to drink. If you like coffee, This tastes, basically like a carbonated coffee to me. It definitely, it's sweet, so it's not, just a black coffee, but it's got a sweet flavor to it. I almost want to say it's got, maybe a hint of the chocolate. I'm not quite confident what chicory is, so maybe the sweetness is coming from that. Excuse me. Whew. But yeah, it's very carbonated. Still, and overall, I'm digging this. I think I could drink this all the time. This is great.
That's good to hear, especially when you aren't a stout guy, which is the one thing I was surprised when you're like, oh, I've got this stout and this stout for the show, and I'm like, really? You're not a stout guy. But I just happened to pick up the Southern Tier because I had some of their beers previously, and I enjoyed them. As you saw, I started out with a full glass. I'm right down to about here. I'll be honest. I'm not getting any of that coffee flavoring.
Interesting.
I'm not. I don't think I would drink this again. It's not terrible. It's, still got that heavy stout flavor, but there's an awkward bite to it, I guess is what I would say. I don't know if maybe, let's see here, 2-roll pale malt, caramel malt, chocolate malt, black malt, roasted barley, Cascade and Columbus hops, and Jamaican roasted coffee. Maybe it's the Jamaican roasted coffee that's not hit. Maybe that's what I'm tasting that I'm not all that hip on. But yeah, it's if you like a little more exotic coffee, maybe this is the beer for you. But I don't think it's sitting all that well with me right now.
Yeah, and I think that's a Southern Tier thing. At least for me. I've had their double IPA. I can't recall the other one that I've had from them. It's a green label, but overall, for some reason, Southern Tiers, I've heard good things about them. It seems like a lot of people like them. It was the Unearthly IPA is what I was referring to.
Okay.
I don't know. It's really hit or miss, but when all you have are these like really heavy double IPAs and really hoppy beers as well. They're obviously going after a specific target market that aren't looking for an easier to drink beer. It's more of, this is a beer you're going to sit with for the next 2 hours.
Yeah, and I like a good stout. I like a good dark stout. More of the chocolate stouts are fantastic. One of the second beer I've ever brewed was a cream stout, which seemed to go over really well. But yeah, stouts are more of a beer that you sit back and enjoy the flavor of, as opposed to slam to get drunk.
Yeah.
Which, if that's your method of drinking, and I know sometimes it is yours.
It is.
It's it's not the beer for you. But when you do what I used to do with the wife, and we'd go down to a bar, and we would drink all day and play board games in the bar. And I'm not talking about Monopoly or Clue. We'd sit down, we'd play a good game of like Settlers of Catan, and we're board game geeks. So, you sit down and you're playing a 2-hour-long board game. It's a good beverage to have. But then again, they also had bottomless mimosas, yes, which tended to be the beverage of choice.
Yeah.
Which I need to go back down there and do again because they still do that stuff. So, that being said, Garvin, you've been doing some home brewing.
Yeah, so, we're both doing home brewing. I'm more of the novice of the group, as in I'm just starting. I bought a $30 kit off of Amazon, a Mr. Beer kit, so it's like the low of the low of home brewing, as far as that goes. Just because, what I haven't done yet is a lot of customization. I'm really not experimenting, and So thus far, I've done a West Coast Pale Ale and a Blonde Ale, but they basically provide a kit that it already has everything pretty much done for you. You just have to, mix it with water and the yeast and some sugar, and theoretically 2 to 4 weeks later you have beer. Is the process. So it kind of skips a lot of the heavy lifting that, Joe, I know you're doing. As far as I'm not boiling down to the wort. I already have my wort, to start with, kind of thing. So,
really, when you're actually getting a bag of wort?
Well, yeah, it's a can actually. Basically, what I do, like my process with the Mr. Beer kit, which is a 2-gallon kit, it basically came with the brew pack and a bag of I forget what it is. It's basically to speed up the process. I forget what it's called. I'll add this to the show notes. Exactly what it comes with, okay. But basically it comes with a can that's your kit, and it's basically in wort form. So whatever it is, like for me, it was the West Coast Pale Ale, or it was the Blonde Ale that was already cooked down, and then I added this bag of extra stuff that basically just made the process go faster. I'm sure there's another reason why to do it, but then I just mix that with water and put it into the 2-gallon keg, which comes with the Mr. Beer kit, and let that sit for 2 weeks, and then I bottled it with some sugar. I added sugar at that process, bottled it, and then conditioned it for 2 to 4 weeks, depending on how long it needed to go. I mean, the kit suggests you only have to let it sit there for 2 weeks and then condition it for another week or so before you can drink it. But it seems like it's better to let it just sit there for a while.
Oh, of course. I mean, my process has always been, take the water, you're adding your malt extract, you're adding your hops at different points in the boil. I usually do a 5-gallon batch, and I'm a little surprised to find out. When I did it, I followed my instructions, and I did 5 gallons of water in that freaking pot. Most people, including Kevin from the podcast, they do like 2 gallons, and then they add water to that to top it off. And to me, that seems absurd, because I don't want watered down beer. I want beer.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's right or not, but when I do it, I do 5 gallons. I make enough for 5 gallons. I think my next one will probably be watered down, because I'm looking for recipes. I don't know what I'm going to do for my next beer. I've got a lot of options available, a lot of recipes I'm looking at, but I'm not an IPA guy. I'm not big on the really hoppy beers. So everyone's like, do an IPA. Because they like the honey ale I did. They like the cream stout I did. And the first beer I did was hold on. It's right on the tip of my tongue. A Aussie Pale Ale, which was very red to me. But I'm probably looking to do a red, maybe a stout. I would like to try a porter. But I'm looking at various recipes to see what's coming along. And the thing that's in my fermenters right now, it's been like pulling teeth, but once I got help at gotmead.com, I'm making a mead, straight up simple honey mead. And right around the beginning of the month, or the end of January, I got some help with it because I couldn't get the yeast to move. The yeast were not doing anything. My gravity never changed. Really, for a lot of alcohol content, you want the gravity to drop considerably. And it managed to with the help of the people at gotmead.com. So I want to thank them for that. I took a reading right before the show, and I've still got another couple weeks or so. About the 27th to 28th is when I'm going to go to my secondary fermentation. But right now, it's at 15.93% alcohol by volume. Right, 15.93, and I think it's 200%. or 200 points. Wait, no, that's a percentage. So yeah, 15.93% alcohol for my mead currently. So I cannot wait to see how this thing's going to change over time.
Well, and just to clarify, what's the percentage you're looking for?
I was looking for around 14 or 15.
Okay, so you're not really way far off from where you're trying to go.
No, but I mean, initially it wasn't moving at all, so I thought I was going to have to scrap the damn thing.
Sure.
Which really sucks because I spent like $80 just in honey.
Yeah.
I mean, basically what it is if those people don't know, mead is like a honey wine. So you're using wine yeasts in basically honey water. You heat up your water, you add the honey, and I added about 3 or 4 quarts of honey to a 5-gallon batch of water. And had I known, I would have had an even better hookup on honey, and it would have cost me about half that.
Yeah.
But now I know knowing's half the battle, and maybe I'll do more mead in the future. But yeah. Sorry, I'm just looking down the hallway toward the mead because I can see it, and it looks so good. But yeah, I'm really excited for the mead. What you do is you boil the water, you warm up the water. You don't boil it. You add the honey, you stir it in. You get a good temperature to make sure you've got an even, consistent mix. You then cool it to around 70 degrees ish, high 70s to low 70s, much like you would do with beer. I actually used a wort chiller, which once you get into doing larger batches, Garvin, that's one of the invaluable things to add to your arsenal.
Sure.
For home brewing. Because you're dropping that temperature really quickly, I'm not sure why. I have to go back and look, but it's better instead of just letting the beer cool to a certain temperature and then adding your yeast. It's better to drop it more drastically.
Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly why. Maybe it has to do with the sugars that are in your wort or your must in the case of mead. But then with the mead, after that point, after you cool it, you add wine yeast. And I took a recommendation by the local brew guru at the local brew store. He said, "You like sweet mead?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Go with this yeast." And I added, I think, 7 packets of that yeast over about a month time, and it never moved. I went to the one that is actually recommended for the recipe that I wanted, that I had, and it was recommended by people at gotmead.com, and it just within 5 days, boom. I was in alcohol heaven.
Good.
I had action. I had what the hell is it? The foam. Krausen. I had Krausen. It was all over the place. It was awesome. So once again, thanks to the people at gotmead.com. If you feel like sponsoring the FTW podcast, please get in touch with us at ftwpodcast.com/sponsor. That would be awesome.
You had mentioned you were looking for a brew. One thing that I'll say before we send this off to a poll, maybe we'll post this on the Facebook page, or why not? We'll post it on everything. But
I need feedback.
Yeah, one thing to consider. You said that you're not a big IPA guy, that you don't want to do IPAs, but do some research on the West Coast Pale Ale, because I don't know if it's just because of what I did or the type of brewing that I'm doing. Maybe it's a little lighter than it was supposed to be, but it was a very light pale ale. It wasn't as strong. It wasn't as bitter. So that might be around.
That was what you brought up. That was what you brought up for the Royal Rumble, correct?
Correct. And you like that?
That seemed very. It was good. It was very borderline Pilsner.
Right.
Which I'm not a big fan of Pilsners, but that one was good. But that goes back to my bachelor party in Toronto, where we went to like the Steam Engine Brewery, or what? Do you remember what it was called, Gavin?
I have. It escapes my memory. It was pretty awful.
Steam Whistle.
Steam Whistle. Yes, that sounds better.
Yes. I would not wish that beer on my worst enemy. That was an abysmal beer, right from the brewery. So I don't know if it should have sat for a couple decades, but that was terrible.
And the place was
that was
packed.
a horrible beer.
No, the place was packed though. that was the weird part was that, you know, we go in and it's like we just used the sample and the sample was like so bad, but people were like actually, you know, buying it like it was popular. It was almost like, you know, how I don't know how it is in Detroit, but PBR is now like a big hipster thing here in Cleveland.
Oh, it's been a hipster here for quite a while.
And PBR is disgusting.
It is. I've got a story about PBR actually. Oh man, it's been at least 10 years now. I visited a friend in Albuquerque, and he lived in the Detroit area and moved to back to Albuquerque. He was originally from the Albuquerque area, and he had a roommate, and I went to visit him. And apparently, my dog's going to bark. So I get out to Albuquerque. And we told my friend's roommate about PBR. And he's just like, I've never heard of this beer. And I'm like, it's horrendously bad. And so we found some. And we have no idea how long it's been in Albuquerque. And they only had one, like, 6-pack. The guy took 3 sips of the beer and went, oh, my God. I can't do this. I cannot drink this beer. And, yeah, it was pretty abysmal. And the steam whistle, yeah. They were giving a lot of tours that day, so maybe that had something to do with it.
That's
like,
possible.
I'm going to take this shitty beer home.
Yeah.
But that was a shitty beer.
Well,
But if anybody has any recommendations, please let us know. And I plan on brewing I plan on doing it maybe next weekend.
Yeah,
so
and
within about 6 months' time.
And I'm in the same boat. You know, I don't have anything brewing right now. I just pulled out the. I'm sorry. I just bottled the blonde ale about.
Saved me one, by the way.
Let's see. That was the 19th. Was the show in Michigan? Yeah. So
something like that. Yeah.
So it was like the next week. So the last week of January. So I haven't brewed anything since. It only takes me. About 2 or 3 weeks to brew, so I don't need anything as difficult as you, as far as that goes. Like you said, you need something for the next couple of months, but for me, it's pretty simple. Okay, you are opening up the chocolate stout now. Is that what's going on?
I'm opening up the chocolate stout right now. Still the Southern Tier. I've had this before. In smaller amounts, thanks to Kevin of the FTW podcast. So hopefully he'll be on Tuesday, and we can thank him once again for this recommendation. Because he says it's extremely hard to find. And let's see if I can get a little bit of head going here. I got a good amount of head there. Whoa, not over the laptop. Okay. Yeah, that's a solid head.
Yeah, and I'm pouring mine right now. Yeah, Kevin is exactly right. This is the first time that I've seen the chocolate stout from Southern Tier in Cleveland. I'm sure it's been out here before, but just in my general area, I have not seen it. But I'm not getting the same thing. I don't know if you can see my head, but it's only about.
I can see it.
It's only about a half an inch, the same head that I had on the previous one. So I'm wondering if that's just because yours has aged some. Mine has not.
Well, I didn't take a simple pour. I initially was pouring, very very smooth. As it came down, I dropped right into the center. So an attempt to get more head, and I do have head. And there's quite the chocolate aroma to this beer. I should have actually got a glass of water to cleanse the palate, but here we go. That's like pure Hershey's, man.
Yeah.
Oh, my. That's a good beer.
This is a different experience. It's all. This isn't beer to me. This is some other magical beverage that we're having here.
Oh, to touch back though. One comment briefly on this. Magical beverage. You had made a comment about how long it had aged.
Yes.
To touch back on my mead. Mead takes about a year to fully come together. So it takes I'm going to spend about 4 months with it in fermentation, and then I bottle. After that, it waits around. So if anybody is a friend of mine and wants a Christmas gift, you're probably going to get a bottle of mead. I'm just forewarning you right now.
Sounds good. I will not argue that.
But yeah. Let's go on to why we're even doing the show, since we're about 40 minutes in. The Elimination Chamber. WWE's Elimination Chamber is tomorrow. Tomorrow in 6 hours, roughly. From the point at which I am speaking. Blah. Elimination Chamber, we've got the Rhodes Scholars versus Tensai and Brodus Clay on the YouTube pre-show. Caitlyn versus Tamina for the Divas Championship. Miz versus Antonio Cesaro for the U.S. Championship. The Shield versus the Glass Ceiling. Daniel, and then we have the World Championship #1 contender Elimination Chamber match. Daniel Bryan versus Randy Orton versus Mark Henry versus Kane versus Chris Jericho versus Jack Swagger. Alberto Del Rio versus Big Show for the World Heavyweight title, and CM Punk versus The Rock for the WWE title. Garvin, let's start with the pre-show. Where are you on this one? Where do you think who's gonna win?
Well, to me, this seems like an obvious win for Tensei and Brodus. Rhodes Scholars. This is the reunion tour, I guess. I think that's what they're calling it. Overall, honestly, Cody Rhodes and Damian Sandow have not won a lot since we started the FTW draft. That's what I'm using as my basis here, and that started in January. They both have about 6 losses apiece. So that to me tells me, and just because of how they've been used on TV over the last couple of weeks, it seems like they're just putting over other individuals. And what needs to get put over at this point, I would imagine, would be Tensai and Brodus, just because that's a new team that they're starting. So, most likely Rhodes Scholars will be used as fodder, which is disappointing. That's something that, none of us really wanted to see. But that's happening. Once again, Cody Rhodes is kind of getting the shaft. Damian Sandow, for some reason, is being grouped into that for whatever reason. But yeah, I'm going to go with Tensai and Brodus for the win.
I'm right there with you, man. Tensai and Brodus are what's up and coming, with Rhodes Scholars saying they're parting ways. It only makes sense that they're going to be the guys who lose. If they win, that really throws a big wrench in the formation of Tensai versus Brodus, unless you're going to have Tensai versus Brodus as a feud. But I don't think that necessarily needs to work right now,
No.
because Tensai's got nothing going on. Brodus has nothing going on. They could be a jobber tag team. Granted, they could push them, but I still don't see what the problem is with the primetime players. Why haven't they gotten the nod yet?
I completely agree. I think PTP has gotten a major shaft as of late. It doesn't really make sense, but the thing, and I think we should definitely talk more in depth about this on Tuesday. But just what they're doing with the tag division, they have not built a solid tag team yet to challenge Hell No. Right now, who are your strong tag teams that have actual wins behind them? And you've got Brodus and Tensai. That's it. Who have basically 2 wins as a tag team. Everyone else has picked up losses. So yeah, where is PTP in this? I have no idea. I'm totally with you. Totally with you.
Yeah, I don't know where the old school, in the PG era, I don't know where the old school tag teams are. Then you got PTP, you've got the Usos, and you got Epico and Primo. We speculate that there could be a number one tag team contenders match, but I really don't think that's going to necessarily happen. I mean, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 matches on the card. I think that's pretty much going to be rock solid.
Well, there's six on the main show, but you got to figure that the one chamber match is probably going to go about an hour or close to it.
I'll
at least 40 minutes.
I'll give that about 40 minutes. Yeah, 40 minutes is a pretty solid mark. And then on top of that, you've got the 3-on-3. So I think that's going to take up a huge chunk of time.
Yeah, but at the same time, there's no way to fit that number one contenders match because who do you have? You have PTP, Epico, and Primo, the Usos, and that's it. You know, Tyson Kidd got injured, so that tag team is out with Justin Gabriel. Rey Mysterio and Sin Cara were both taken out through an injury storyline, but thanks to Mark Henry when he returned. So yeah, you got no one there.
Yeah, we really don't. All right, let's move on since we're both picking Brodus and Tensai. Caitlyn versus Tamina for the Divas Championship. Where are you on this one?
Well, I don't really have an answer. To me, it seems like Caitlyn would keep on the title, but I don't know. I mean, they haven't built this match up outside of the Raw Active. It's something that they've teased before that Tamina would actually get involved in something, and she finally had a match on SmackDown this week. But otherwise, where has Tamina been? Where has any of the Divas been? You know,
nowhere.
So, overall, personally, I would love to see Tamina hold the title. I'd love to see a solid feud with Tamina, Caitlyn, throw Layla back in there. The Funkadactyls have them compete as well.
Okay, let me say the Funkadactyls, the matches they've been in. I know it's only been a few, but they've only done a little bit of in-ring work. I've been impressed by them with the little bit we've seen. I want to see more.
Oh yeah, and me too. And that's the feedback that we've seen. From everyone posting on our Facebook and Google communities. It seems like everyone is really pleased with what they're doing, but the Divas still are not getting solid time whatsoever.
No. If you're a diva, if you're a woman and you want decent time, I don't know where to go. I'm sorry. I wish I could think of a company to plug right now, but I'm drinking a lot of beer, a lot of heavy beer. So it's not going to be as easy flowing. And really, there's only 2 of us on the show, so I don't have the time to really look it up. But who do you think's going to win?
Yeah, just who's going to win? I'm going to have to go with Caitlyn. I think because there hasn't been a solid build up for a new person. Caitlyn is the only one that's really backed by the company at this point. So it would seem odd that they put the title on Tamina, considering this is like Tamina's first match. You know, the match we just saw on SmackDown, that was her first match in months. So I don't know. I'm gonna go with Caitlyn.
I'm going to go with Caitlyn as well, but I do see a strong pull for Tamina. I think Tamina will hold the title soon. I just don't think it's going to be here.
Right.
If she happens to win here, I see Natalya winning it at WrestleMania. Otherwise, I see Tamina challenging for it again and winning it at WrestleMania. Because we're guaranteed a Divas match. Because at some point somebody's going to have to go to the bathroom in that 4 hours.
Yes.
Or they'll give Santino a match, and that'll be the bathroom break. Yeah. Oh, Santina! I forgot about Santina. She hasn't been seen in a while.
No. Yeah. Overall, this is a dumb match. Sadly, I mean, it's got great potential. It's got great potential. I like both of them. I think they can do well, but yeah, they've done nothing.
Here's where I find the fault in the WWE on this one. They've hyped everything over Raw Active. The problem is you haven't made Raw Active relevant yet.
Or easy to use.
If you're going to do that, agreed. If they want to do something with it, what they really need to do is push major storylines on it and not on TV. I understand that hurts your TV viewing and it makes things a little more like, what the fuck? But if you want the internet thing, the Raw Active, using the app to be, and information on that's only available on the app to be that much more powerful, you have to do it with major storylines in order to get the crappy storylines, sorry ladies, to be seen on it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, and we said the same thing about the YouTube show when they started doing that in the first 30 minutes of the pay-per-view, is that you need something big to happen for people to want to watch. And Raw Active is putting a lot of cool content out there. I mean, there's also the polls that they're doing, but the thing is that it sometimes works, sometimes it doesn't. Overall, yeah, if they are using Tamina versus Caitlyn as their first try to see if they can build a feud just on Raw Active, yeah, total fail. I'd rather see that on TV. Yeah.
So that was a good beer. I'm going to have a little more of that chocolate stout.
Yeah, I'm taking this one slow.
I needed to rush that a little bit. I'm only going a little bit now. Because I don't think I'm making it anywhere, and it's snowing like a mofo outside. So let's move on. Miz versus Cesaro for the U.S. Championship. I'm going to take this one first. I don't see Miz winning this. As much as Miz needs a push and needs a win, I think Cesaro needs it more. So they can. Miz has already been the U.S. champion. Miz has already been the Miz has done just about everything in his seemingly short time with the WWE, but he's been around for a long time. Let's not pull any punches here. And I think that Cesaro's going to keep the title, make him stronger, and he's going to go on to fight somebody else. I don't see him losing it because Miz doesn't need the title right now. Your thoughts?
Yeah. Overall, I'm looking at the next step. Where do they go from this match? Miz, they have a lot of different opportunities, whether he wins or loses. But Cesaro, he kind of needs this title to be relevant. Otherwise, because that's all we've seen from him is basically his rise to try to get the title and then finally get in the title, and that's what he's built his career on so far in the WWE. If you take that away from him, where does he go from there? Because that's really a major point of his storyline. At the same time, what match do you think that they're trying to build up next? For me, unless something crazy happens, and we'll talk about the world title chamber match soon enough. But Jack Swagger, the whole Jack Swagger storyline that's building right now, that seems like that's a great direction for the U.S. Championship match, to have Cesaro versus Jack Swagger at WrestleMania. I think, personally, I think that's where they would go, and it makes more sense for Cesaro to hold that title for that.
See, I would almost flip that on you. I think Cesaro and Swagger as a tag team would be phenomenal. Yes. But I can't wait to see the match. If they're going to do a match between them, that'll be good. But who do you turn face?
Okay, so yeah, you say that, and that makes me take a step back because overall, I mean, they're both anti what the U.S. has become. So I suppose that it would make more sense for them to tag team than feud. But it does seem like the direction that they're going.
I mean, I can see it. Don't get me wrong. I just think that with the inclusion of Zeb, who do you turn face? You would turn Cesaro.
Yeah.
And I don't see Cesaro as a face. I'm sorry. So, I mean, that's where I'm at on that one.
Not as long as he's on the mic, going after who he's been going after.
Yeah. So, who do you see winning, Miz or Cesaro?
I'm going to go with Cesaro. I think there's a lot more opportunities for good storylines with the title on Cesaro than with the title on Miz. Miz doesn't need it. Miz can do, he can do better.
Right.
So I'm gonna go with Cesaro.
Okay. So we're gonna move on, and this one's gonna be the tough one: the glass ceiling versus the Shield. I just don't know who to pick in this one. This is a tough one. Shield needs a win. If it were anybody else opposing the Shield, I'd say the Shield wins the match. The problem is you have three of the biggest faces in the company at the moment going against a team that needs to the team that needs to win. So who's going to win and why?
Cena.
It's one of those dumbfounding things.
Cena will win because he needs it to go to WrestleMania. I mean,
okay.
I love the Shield. I love what they're doing. I believe in the Shield. And I think overall that they can still do well with a loss here. There's been a lot of rumors going around as far as how they're going to book this match. As far as are they going to put these guys in a chamber setup so that it's elimination style, or does that hurt the booking of the two teams, because both teams are booked so strongly and solidly. It's difficult seeing either team lose, really.
It is because if this was like a feud ending kind of thing, you would have the faces win because, well, they're the biggest names in the company. But the Shield need to be the force that needs to be feared. So, I mean, I'm going with the Shield on this one, just to oppose you. And I think for the Shield, if they're going to beat a team of three guys, this is the team to beat, to prove that you have ability and that you are, a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah,
and I think they really need that.
Out of the six guys involved, I mean, who has something going on for WrestleMania? The only guy in this group that we know for sure who has to look strong going into WrestleMania is John Cena.
True, but it doesn't mean John Cena can't eliminate or can't beat, be like the force that saves the team for a certain amount of time and just happens to get overtaken. Or somebody else gets the pin.
So who gets pinned?
He can. I would say Sheamus. Yeah, I don't see Ryback getting pinned. I see Ryback getting knocked out and beneath like 50 chairs and 20 tables. Obviously an exaggeration, but he's going to get KO'd outside the ring.
Yeah,
it's not going to be a fair fight. I would have loved to have seen this one in the Elimination Chamber. I think they could have done so much more with it, but they're not going to do that. Well, or else they would have already announced it as an elimination. They would have already announced it as an Elimination Chamber match.
Well,
by SmackDown, they would have announced it.
Yeah. And I haven't gone to WWE.com today as far as to see if they've changed this. But one of the big things, and this was kind of a slip by them, but they did make reference to 2 chamber matches happening at Elimination Chamber. They just haven't announced what that second match is. So if that's still the case, if that's still what they're pushing, it is quite possible that match could be involved in that. But I'm going through right now, and I'm not seeing anything else yet.
Okay. Well, I guess then we should move on.
Sure.
So our next match is the Elimination Chamber match for the number 1 contendership for the World Heavyweight Championship. Daniel Bryan versus Randy Orton versus Mark Henry versus Kane versus Chris Jericho versus Jack Swagger. Out of the entire list of guys, there is one person I do not want to win. I would be happy with anybody winning except for Randy Orton.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I hate Randy Orton. And if you look behind me, over there, yeah, over there. And I don't see it now. Oh, because it got moved. Okay. The illustrious Lee has sent me, as a wedding gift, a Randy Orton figure. Yes, I still have it. Yes, I didn't send it back. Or no, I didn't send it back. Yes, I still have it. It's still in the package. No, I don't plan on opening it. I have to figure out who he really hates, and I'm going to send that over with a fucking pizza. But without sweet corn, because damn, dude, no. But yeah, I hate Randy Orton, so I don't want Randy Orton to win. All the rumors that I caught leading up to at least Elimination Chamber, at least before the last, let's say, 2 to 3 weeks, was saying that Randy Orton's going to be in the world title picture at WrestleMania. I don't like that. Daniel Bryan is a phenomenal worker. Kane, I'd be happy with. Jericho's a phenomenal worker. Swagger's back on the upswing. I can't wait to see more from him. He's got a good look. A good look working for him. It's just that damn lisp. I think that's the only thing holding him back, and it's the one thing he can't change.
Yeah, and I'm looking at this list too, and really, if Kane and Daniel Bryan were solid, if they really had an opportunity here to feud for the world title, this is a great division. This is stacked. Jack Swagger, Chris Jericho, Kane, Daniel Bryan, Mark Henry, Randy Orton. They're all feuding for the WWE title, along with Sheamus, if you want to throw Sheamus' name back in there, and Big Show and ADR. I mean, that's a lot of great
Let's not
names.
throw Sheamus back in there.
I don't want to, but I'm just saying if that's probably where he would go next, possibly. But yeah, I'm also checking out. We have a blog post on ftwpodcast.com. It is Mike's, Mike Hupak. He is the PW Torch contributor that usually joins us on these WWE pay-per-view pre-shows. He's got his predictions here, and he's going to go with Mark Henry for pretty much the same reasons that we've already talked about. Mark Henry has just been so dominant, and it has a limited upside. His upside is in that he's been a world champion before. He can do great things with it, but he's probably not going to be here for too much longer after WrestleMania. I give him maybe another year, and I think that's what normally everyone else is giving him. But not.
I
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I say I love the idea of Mark Henry. Mark Henry is my pick to come out of the Elimination Chamber match as the number one contender. Let's be honest. Mark Henry's been around for what? 2 to 3 weeks?
Yeah.
And he's made such an impact.
Right.
That I think he's walking away with this title. You're walking away with this number one contendership. I think he's going to take it at WrestleMania.
Yeah, and you can kind of say that Jack Swagger has been in a similar spot where he's just dominating, but look at who he's dominating. While Mark Henry is beating Randy Orton, who is that top level guy, unfortunately, Jack Swagger is taking out Zack Ryder. So,
well, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, you've got a double-edged sword in the fact that Mark Henry took out the Great Khali. I mean, in one hand, it's a big dude like Great Khali who's shown to supposedly have a lot of power. On the second hand, it's the fucking Great Khali. Nobody cares. I see Zack Ryder beating Great Khali.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If Ryder was a heel, he'd be beating Great Khali. And then Hornswoggle would somehow get involved or something like that. But still, the Great Khali's that double-edged sword where it's like, oh my God, he lifted this huge dude and was able to beat this huge dude. On the other hand, it's the fucking great Khali. Khali sucks. Natalya could beat the Great Khali.
Yeah, and I don't.
Natalya should beat the Great Khali.
Yeah,
Hornswoggle should beat the Great Khali.
Yeah, you will not get any argument from anyone here on the FTW podcast or in the live chat. But let's look at everyone else. I mean, like Chris Jericho. The reason why I'm even considering him is just because let's look at the next step. Who gets title shot against ADR or Big Show and potentially wins? Like, are you going to have this Elimination Chamber match without the idea of putting the title on this winner? knowing what's going to happen with Dolph Ziggler. Like, Dolph Ziggler is going to cash in, and if they if they don't give Dolph Ziggler the title, that would be a major big surprise that I don't think anyone is even considering. But next step, with Dolph Ziggler, who can have a great feud with him, and that is Chris Jericho. I think if you give the title shot to Chris Jericho and Chris Jericho wins at WrestleMania, then Dolph Ziggler cashes in on Chris Jericho. There's a great story for that. Mark Henry, not so much.
I mean, the only option I see going forward, I think Mark Henry's walking out of this match, as the number one contender. Let me stop right here. Who are you taking to win the Elimination Chamber match? Let's make this.
I'm stalling. Can you not tell that I'm stalling to answer this question?
Okay, because my answer, I think Mark Henry's going to win. Who do we see winning the world title at Elimination Chamber? Initially, I thought ADR. I thought Alberto Del Rio was going to win. It was going to be, heel Mark Henry against ADR face. But if you're going to have Dolph cash in, you most likely would see Mark Henry lose to ADR at WrestleMania, and then have Dolph cash in on ADR, because Del Rio is going to be that much more spent after the match. I mean, Mark Henry's fucking Mark Henry. He's a big dude. But what could be said for Big Show winning in Mark Henry versus Big Show? If you take Mark Henry as winning as being the thing. I mean, granted, looking at this at the Elimination Chamber match, there's so many options. I mean, if anybody, you figure Mark Henry will be the last guy to be pinned, unless everybody teams up on Mark Henry. I mean, whoever comes out is going to look strong. It's all over the place.
Yeah, this is a really tough match to pick. But just me thinking scenario wise, what would be a scenario that I would really mark out to, and that would be Chris Jericho winning with the Chris Jericho ADR match, and I'm saying ADR would win the world champion at Elimination Chamber, and then have Dolph cash in on those two. I think, I don't know. It's just kind of strange. And at the same time, let's also consider that Dolph might cash in Elimination Chamber. He's not booked, so he's free to do whatever he wants. So I don't know. Just to move this conversation on to the next match, I'm going to say Chris Jericho, and then we can continue on.
Garvin's going with the Y2J. All right, so Alberto Del Rio versus Big Show for the world title. We've kind of merged into this already. I'm going with Alberto Del Rio. Garvin, who are you picking to win? Let's make this really quick.
I'm also going to go with ADR to win. I think it makes the most sense. Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to say anything more on this conglomeration of crap we've spewed?
Well, do we want to go into speculation of Dolph now or at the end?
Let's hold it off.
Okay.
Just because. Let's get through this last match, which is CM Punk versus The Rock.
Sounds good.
CM Punk versus The Rock. Who do you think is going to win this one?
This is a match that I hate this response. This is The Rock. The Rock will win, and I don't want The Rock to win, but I don't see how you move forward. At the same time, let me take the opposite perspective, because I'm so torn.
Okay.
If you don't have CM Punk fighting for the WWE title at WrestleMania, which is the top match, the last 2 years have been pointless. Like he hasn't accomplished anything. His goal, his thing was that, he is the best in the world and he needs to main event, WrestleMania. if he doesn't get this win, then what was the point? What was the point of all that buildup? He's basically a failure in that respect. And is that what the WWE really wants to push?
I'm not really sure. I mean, I still. Here's the only catch in where I think Punk loses, is if Undertaker is going to have a WrestleMania match. Outside of that, I think Punk wins. Punk wins an Elimination Chamber. Rock still has a rematch clause, and Cena's going after the WWE Championship. Gives you a triple threat for the main event of WrestleMania. That way, it's not tearing into the crap that was once in a lifetime, never before, never again, Cena versus Rock, because now it's a triple threat.
Yeah, I'm okay with that idea. I think if they turn this into a triple threat, I think it will solve a lot of issues that people have. People don't really want to see Cena versus Rock again, but if you throw CM Punk in that mix, it makes that match, watchable. It makes the match something that people will want to buy the pay-per-view for. Because I don't think Rock versus Cena 2 is going to sell WrestleMania like it should, like it did last year. So,
Right.
Yeah, let me backtrack. I'm going to be totally with you. I think the smart decision would be to put CM Punk over Rock in some kind of Weasley way. That way, there's some definite reason for Rock to want to get that rematch now, and I'm with that scenario. Let's do that. I'm agreeing with
All
you.
right.
CM Punk over.
So, all right, so Garvin goes with the CM Punk taking the match with the Jell-O pudding in the Kodak film.
And I just want to let me real quick. I want to reference Mike's blog post over on FTW Podcast again. He says basically a similar thing, that basically Punk has to win, but because that would lead to a triple threat match. Definitely. I think we're all in agreement here.
Excellent, all two of us. Yeah. So, I mean, before we jump into discussing Dolph cashing in, just want to give props to those guys who are sitting in the live chat on Mixler. Guys, thank you for joining us.
Yes.
You guys are awesome. So Garvin, does Dolph cash in?
Does Dolph cash
The
in?
ever ongoing question.
Does Dolph cash in? I can't remember what what has happened in previous years. If Dolph cashes in, then whomever wins, which for me it's ADR. If Dolph cashes in on ADR and wins the title, ADR gets a title shot, right? Does he get
I would
a
assume.
rematch?
I would assume.
So possibly, and this is basically the spoke in the wheel. If Dolph cashes in at Elimination Chamber, then we, based on what we think is going to happen with the WWE title match, we would have 2 triple threat matches for the World Championship, or for the top 2 titles. So I don't think that's going to happen. I think Dolph is going to cash in at WrestleMania. If he was going to cash in before then, he would have done it by now. So I think he'll hold off, because otherwise we'll have like I said, we'll have 2 triple threat matches for the top titles. I'm having a hard time speaking. It's the chocolate stout, I think.
The chocolate stout is phenomenal. Once again, that's a Choklat stout.
Yes.
I mean, that's how it's spelled. By Southern Tier. Beer. Chocolate, Southern Tier Brewing Company. SouthernTierBrewing.com. Thank you very much. You're our involuntary sponsor of this podcast this week. Dolph cashing in, I could see it, but we've held off on it for so long. I almost think that Big E Langston and AJ Lee at this point are hurting him and are dragging him down. I see him cashing in, but maybe at WrestleMania.
Yeah, right.
But I mean, ADR versus Big Show seems to be coming to a head right now. So who do you put ADR against? The only thing I can think of is Ziggler's going to cash in at Elimination Chamber. That way, ADR wins the match. Dolph cashes in right after, beats ADR, walks home with the title. That way, you've got Dolph versus ADR at the pay-per-view.
At WrestleMania.
Well, that's right. Yeah. And against, you add in Mark Henry, then it's 2-on-1.
Well, it's just
I don't know.
Triple threat. I mean, so you think there will be 2 triple threats for one for the world and one for the WWE title at WrestleMania? That's what you're predicting right now, right?
At the moment, yeah, but thanks to the chocolate stout.
Because I can't do that. I can't see them doing that same scenario. I don't know. I'd love it. I mean, regardless if it's Mark Henry or if it's Chris Jericho, I would rather see a one-on-one match in that respect because I don't know.
I don't know. I would agree with you, given all the circumstances, but looking at the Elimination Chamber match, I don't see who comes out besides Mark Henry. And it's not to say that Dolph won't lose the title before WrestleMania. I mean, granted, how long did he hold it before? One day? Not even that? He won it and lost it later that night?
Right.
So who's to say that they don't screw Dolph out of it and then after WrestleMania give him another throw toward it? Because really, you can't fuck a guy that many times. And I mean, other than that, he's the next Kane.
But you got to think that he's had this briefcase for a year now. You have to expect
it looks like a fucking pancake,
right? But you would have to think that they would turn things around for him finally, because I mean, let's look at and again, thanks to ftwdraft.com, I've been keeping track of so many wins and loss records, and Dolph by far is one of the he has one of the worst records in WWE right now. So many losses to him, and I don't want to see that continue. I think if they continue to build Dolph the way that they have with this briefcase, that they would have to give him the title longer than a night or a week or a month. It's gonna have to be long term, or I won't be happy. Let's just say that. I would not be happy.
I mean, I agree with you. Dolph needs to hang on to that briefcase for quite a while, at least a couple pay-per-views. But what's going to happen, we don't know. I mean, God, Vince gets involved and he changes shit all the time.
Yeah, but I mean,
so
Dolph can't survive that. Honestly, if you screw him out of that long reign, that puts him in a really bad spot because, like with Cena they could do that because Cena could bounce back because they would have booked him in as many awesome matches anyways. But Dolph they won't. Dolph doesn't have that, that history behind him besides, us liking him.
I'll give you that one. I'll give you that. I'll concede. But the only other things we have sitting as speculation on the card, besides the Dolph cash-in, number 1 tag team contenders match between primetime players Usos and Epico and Primo, or I guess we should say, I think that's going to be that won't happen. Wade Barrett versus Bo Dallas for the Intercontinental title. Do we actually expect to see that?
I'm expecting it. Yeah. When word got out that they were promoting possibly a second chamber match. That kind of made sense to me, but as far as putting the Intercontinental Championship in that chamber match, but now that Cody Rhodes and Damian Sandow are booked, I don't see who else could really fill the 6-man slot that you would need for the Intercontinental Championship chamber match. So yeah,
it'd be different. It'd be different if it was the U.S. title in this situation,
right?
Because the U.S. title is looked at. I mean, let's be honest, it's looked at as the lowest tier title. The IC title is above it, and it should be above it. It's WWE history, for fuck's sake. The IC title is, I mean, we've got the world title up there. It's WWE title, world title, IC title, then the US title. And somewhere in the grand conglomeration of things off to the side as the second cousin twice removed is the tag team title.
Yeah.
I could see it happening. I don't see it happening until WrestleMania. The only other thing to think about is, will Brock Lesnar make an appearance in the WWE title match? I'd see it because CM Punk looks like he's going to win.
Yeah, I'm gonna see that. I see it too. That it would kind of make sense for Brock to get involved, but then what is that next step? What are you leading to for Lesnar? Because Lesnar's going to have to compete for, in WrestleMania. Where do you book him? Is it another Triple H match, or
we can break this out.
Yeah, we can.
Where we have Punk versus Cena at WrestleMania. Let's say Punk wins at Elimination Chamber due to Brock's interference. You got Brock versus Rock at WrestleMania. Two guys who work part-time. Fuck, throw in Goldberg for the fuck's sake.
No, I'm actually okay with the idea that you don't have the title on Rock, or you don't have Rock in the title match at WrestleMania. I think I'd be okay with that, but is WWE okay with that? I don't know.
But
that's a good scenario.
Know.
That's a good idea.
That'd be a phenomenal idea. I would love to see The Rock take the F5. Like, he goes for the people's elbow and he bounces off the rope, and as he comes back, he just eats an F5.
Yeah. So I'm gonna say I do like the idea of Lesnar getting involved in the WWE title match. Overall, I think we probably both agree on this, that as we continue to drink here and talk about Elimination Chamber, it's becoming a better in pay-per-view. Like, I'm really looking forward to see what they're doing and what the next step is towards WrestleMania. This is the last stop before WrestleMania.
If WWE really wants to help their pay-per-view buys, you put a bottle of this chocolate stout in the hands of every viewer. Because, really, this just made this show so much better for me. And it'll make Elimination Chamber that much better. Comparing the two bottles, the Southern Tier Imperial Stout Jahva to the Imperial Stout Choklat, the Choklat reigns supreme. I'm probably going to dump the rest of the Jahva down the drain. I did not care for this beer.
Sorry.
I know that's alcohol abuse. It's my choice, though. I bought it. I've got the Southern Tier Creme Brulee sitting in my fridge. That's probably for tomorrow. Or maybe during Raw. But the chocolate stout, it can't be beat. And I'm going to have to go pick more of this up before it is gone off the shelves in my area.
Yeah, if we want to compare labels here, if I'm comparing the Southern Tier Chocolate Stout label versus the Dogfish Head Chicory Stout label, I'm going to have to go with Chocolate Stout, just because the Dogfish, it looks like it was just printed like from, a regular end user printer. Like the paper isn't good. There's these really faint chocolate or coffee beans in the background. It's not a great label at all. Like, I could make this label. But the chocolate stout, man, pretty
That's
good.
etched on, man. That you can't remove that without some sandpaper and steel wool and shit. But it's the chocolate stout is definitely a winner. Southern Tier, thank you very much for making your product available in the Metro Detroit area.
And Cleveland.
Props to you. And Cleveland. I can only speak for the Metro Detroit area. Phenomenal product. I want to thank Kevin again for introducing us to this around the Royal Rumble. He showed up with a bottle of it at my house during our Drunken Settlers of Catan game. And I think that's one of my favorite games of Catan ever played, Garvin, I'm going to say.
Yeah, I agree. Because even though I lost, I wasn't pissed that I lost. Usually I'm like really upset that I've lost, that I've spent that much time on
because you were drunk. That's because you were drunk. And that's the greatest thing about playing board games and getting drunk is that you're just like, after a while, you're like, fuck it, I don't care.
All right, so the chocolate stout, let's basically say, I mean, it's not a beer. It doesn't taste like beer. It tastes like chocolate, like a carbonated chocolate beverage, but not as gross as you usually get, like that chocolate pop at like, I don't know what you have. I'm sure at Walmart in Detroit they have something like that. It's called like a chocolate pop, and it is nasty.
Yeah, I'm sure
it is not like that. It is very smooth. It tastes delicious. If you like chocolate, you'll like the chocolate stout.
Yeah. If you end up being a chocolate connoisseur, you know, where even Dove isn't good enough for you, you will enjoy the Southern Tier Imperial Chocolate Stout. I'm just curious why Six, the whole effing show, is wondering why there's going to be a breakout performance will be by 3MB. And then he goes on to say those guys are fucktards. I'm confused.
All right.
Maybe the beer.
From the live chat, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't get that kind
And
of-
Nick's calling us a Choco snob. So
you are.
whatever.
I'm not.
Me? Since when? Why? Because I'm a fat guy and I like chocolate?
You probably have eaten more chocolate than I have. Yes.
And the chain gang says because we're more drunk than you. I doubt that.
All right. So,
But if you want to challenge it, I will go get the scotch.
all right. What else do we got to talk about? Overall,
That's it.
Elimination Chamber. I think it's going to be a good pay per view. You know,
I think it's good. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, if you look back to how we were talking about it 2-3 weeks ago, this was going to be a throwaway pay per view. But you know, overall, I think where we stand right now, knowing that a lot of this at least is going to lead to WrestleMania, I think that's exciting. So I think this is actually going to be a really cool pay per view to watch.
All right, the chain gang go. You are on my shit list. This is what happens when Harrison's gone. Save us. We're not Y2J. We can't save you.
Yeah.
As much as I think that this pay-per-view has a lot of potential to be good, I still feel it's going to be a throwaway pay-per-view on the road to WrestleMania. It's that last-minute stop where everyone checks to see if they got to go to the bathroom. Y2 Harrison? No, I don't think so. Yeah. So, I don't know. I have a hard time thinking that the whole thing's going to be good. I find that the world title picture will be good, and I think the rest of it is pretty much going to be throwaway. The 3-on-3 match is going to purely be built for the Shield and to put them in a possible place going forward. To maybe put them on the sidelines going into WrestleMania. And I have no idea, Nick, why McBrads would be having a stroke right now. So,
Yeah, we haven't made any mistakes. Let's be clear. This has been a great conversation.
And if we've made any mistakes, the chicken stir. Yes, thanks, Nick. We're not the oh my god goosebumps girl, but
FTW,
you know, the
Purge
chocolate
Beers.
stout by so. Oh, I am so fucked for the rest of the day.
All right. You can go ahead and close this out, Joe. I think we're good.
Yeah, okay. All right. Garvin, out of the two beers you drank, which one do you prefer?
Chocolate stout.
Get that out of the way.
Chocolate stout, definitely. I could, but I don't know. See, again, I'm torn on this decision only because chocolate stout, I don't think I could drink all of the time. I think it'd be one of those special occasions, once a month type of thing that I would have the chocolate stout. But the Dogfish Head, the Chicory Stout comes in a 6-pack. You know, I can have a bottle here, a bottle there, kind of thing. While the chocolate stout are these giant bottles.
They only come in the 22 ounce.
Yeah. You said 22 ounce?
22 ounce.
Is that a one pint 0.64 ounces?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is the only size. This is the only size that apparently Southern Tier produces their beer in.
Yes. So I don't think I can have a whole lot of that. Once a month for sure. But the Chicory Stout from Dogfish Head, I could definitely see me picking that up all the time.
Okay, that I think that's a fair assessment.
You?
By far the chocolate stout is the winner. The Jahva, it's, as you can see, the bottle is only half full, and I don't plan on finishing that. I know that's alcohol abuse. I know I'm probably going to get crap for that, but these are very heavy beers. Let's not pull any punches on the Southern Tier. So that's, I think, where we're at on that. So I think the chocolate stout is my winner, and obviously, like you said, it's not an all the time beer, but it's one of those times where, like, if you're going to sit and enjoy a beer, it's definitely in the running if it's available. And that would be the show. Why not check out ftwpodcast.com for more information about us and how to get involved in the future. Our new and improved site, thanks to Garvin, the web guru. We've posted links to our iTunes page. You can rate us higher than any podcast and rate us drunker than any other podcast if you want to put that in the comments, as well as links to other ways to support us. Definitely ftwpodcast.com/ is it merch, Garvin? I'm drunk.
For the shirts, they can just go to ftwpodcast ftwpodcast.com/shirts to get a list of all the new stuff.
/shirts. You can get the I Take Candy from Cody's Mustache shirt, which apparently is very popular and was making its rounds on Twitter. We posted links to the iTunes page. You can rate us there. You can support us with the t-shirts. There's the FTW Podcast Guy t-shirts over at ftwpodcast.com/shirts. I wish I really read forward in the doc and I would have had that and not had to bother you with it. Thank you everyone in the live chat. Thank you for entertaining us. We record every FTW Podcast episode on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at FTW Podcast or FTWLive.com. We'll see you again on Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. or 1 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time, right? Yeah, that would be about right. Yay beer. Harrison's a cock. I've got nothing else. These are fun. All right, peace out.